Hello and welcome to the Daily Forex Report for June 17th. We are looking at the US-Japanese yen pair first. This pair broke to the downside on Friday, closed much lower. Our swing trade there did catch that strong move to the downside. We are looking for it overall, long term, definitely has a downward bias and heading that way now. Did get a little bit of a gap during this session, not super significant, about 12 to 13 pips there. You can see it's pulling back against that as we speak. Now, we are looking for this pair to potentially go up to 79.85, possibly down to 78.07. Look for some resistance around 79.15, and look for some support around 78.58. Now, the Euro-USD pair, this pair gapped up 39 pips, is heading to the upside. I do believe we'll see it turn back around and fill the gap. Look for it to potentially go as high as 127.93, possibly as low as 125.28. Look for some resistance around 127.75, and look for some support around 126.25. Now the pound-US dollar pair gapped up just barely, just a little bit. Moved to the upside. Looks like it's pulled back significantly prior to that. Look for it to potentially go as high as 158.79, possibly as low as 154.17. Look for some resistance around 158.50, and look for some support around 156.00. Now the US Swiss, this pair gapped down at the open about 29 pips. Has been moving lower. We are still looking for it to retrace, potentially going as high as 0.9581, possibly as low as 0.9385. Look for some resistance to the upside around 0.9474, and look for some support around 0.9405. Now, as far as news announcements go, we do have two news announcements going into this next session. At 1 a.m. Eastern, we have the Bank of Japan releasing their monthly economic report. Of course, no consensus given. Typically, all the numbers have been released already with monthly reports, so they tend not to affect the markets all that much. Then a little bit later, at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, we have the Australian Reserve Bank Board releasing their June minutes. Okay, now what am I looking for during this next session? Well, currently we have the Euro-USD that has gapped up. We know that a large majority of the time these gaps do retrace. Not saying that it's 100%, but it is very, very high. So with that said, I'm looking on the 15-minute time frame, backing out a little ways and looking for this to retrace, potentially filling that gap. So what I'm looking to do is to drop a trend line there at the low so far and at the previous Friday's high, and at that point I will drop my trend finder indicator on here and look for downward movement, basically movement to the downside. Hopefully see some trend finder arrows to the downside, and that will help me determine exactly when I should get into the trade. Here we have, you can see that triggered due to the gap to the upside. Of course, we know not to take that due to the gap. I'm actually looking for it now to turn around and come to the downside. So that is what I'm looking at. If we take this off, back out a little ways, we may get a clearer idea of what we can expect. Take a trend line there. It's an idea of what can happen as this thing develops and comes through. Look for it to dive to the downside. I hope that helps, and until next time, this is Jason Fielder. Good trading.